Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna talk about Scrum Ceremonies. I'm gonna touch on what they are and why your team should be using them. All right, so Scrum Ceremonies are at the center of any successful Scrum framework. They're a great way to keep everyone connected during the current sprint. Now, before I go over the 4 different Scrum ceremonies, allow me to give you an overview of what Scrum is, as well as what sprints are, and the different roles on a Scrum team. Scrum is a very popular method of agile project management, and it originates from the world of software development. Because of its simplicity, it's become widely used across different businesses and teams. And a big focus of Scrum is breaking larger projects down into smaller, more manageable pieces of work. These smaller pieces of work are accomplished through different iterations or sprints. For reference, here's a visual of my current sprint, which shows all of the tasks I currently have prioritized. Below, I have my upcoming sprints, so I can see what I'll be working on next. And as a sprint is completed, your team moves on to the next iteration or next batch of tasks. And as I said, Scrum is all about breaking projects down into smaller pieces of work. So all those different tasks you saw in my sprints, those contribute to the completion of a larger project. Now, the last thing I want to touch on are the different roles found on a Scrum team. And it's actually pretty simple. You have the product owner, who represents both the customers and the stakeholders, and is responsible for ensuring the project is delivering value. It's important that this person can keep a full overview of their work. Next, we have the Scrum Master, and this is someone who contributes to the ceremonies as the expert on the Scrum framework. This role helps clear roadblocks, prioritizes work, and ensures that agile processes are upheld. And then we have the rest of the team. And naturally, the team needs to be involved with every meeting so they can stay in the loop on any changes to the project. Now, let's go ahead and cover each of the Scrum ceremonies. You have sprint planning, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. These ceremonies create a cycle for you and your team to repeat during and after each sprint. The first of the 4 Scrum ceremonies is sprint planning. Naturally, the planning phase happens before the actual sprint begins. In this meeting, everyone will review what needs to get done and discuss how it will get done. Having an outline for this is going to help you accomplish everything much quicker. It's like creating a checklist the day before instead of frantically trying to figure out what you need to get done the day of. Now, keeping in mind the roles we mentioned earlier, you'll want to make sure that each of them is present here at this meeting. And while everyone is present, you'll outline all of the items from the product backlog that need to be completed during the sprint that's being planned. Next, we have the daily Scrum, also referred to as the daily stand-up. And this ceremony is meant to keep everyone connected and up to date on the progress that's been made during the current sprint. It's also an excellent opportunity to bring attention to any roadblocks you may have encountered. Having the opportunity to do so daily will help you resolve issues quicker. Originally, this was an in-person meeting where different team members would stay standing and tell the team about their progress. Now, if you're a remote company, you can still use this Scrum ceremony by prompting your team members with something like this, which everyone will respond to daily. Third, we have the sprint review, where our objective is to, as the name suggests, review everything that was accomplished during this sprint. This will happen after the sprint ends, so you can evaluate which goals were completed and then update the backlog in preparation for the next phase or next iteration. This is another ceremony where everyone should be present and the meeting itself shouldn't last any longer than an hour. The last Scrum ceremony is the sprint retrospective, which is a ceremony that shouldn't be any longer than an hour. This is your opportunity to discuss any and all improvements you can think of that would benefit your team moving forward. Think about the current processes in place and the tools your team is currently using. As an example, maybe there's a tool you can add to the mix that could improve some element of your team's execution. Usually, the entire team is invited to this event, but it's not required for the product owner to be in attendance. There's a breakdown of the different Scrum ceremonies, as well as a brief overview of what Scrum is. If you have any questions, you can leave them right down below the video. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel so you're notified of any future video uploads. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.